late 50s, early 60s from the United States, and steadily pressing it down, and it was down into Panama. It's known to exist in Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, but it could have very serious impact if it was to get into our livestock industry. Both trade, intrastate and international trade could be shut down, and probably would be shut down if it gets out of where it is in the Florida Keys, specifically right now, Big Pine Key and No Name Key. And it's a devastating disease. We know right now that it is mainly affecting wildlife, specifically the key deer. We have seen it in a pig. We've seen it in 2 dogs that were confirmed and 1 dog that was suspicious that's waiting confirmation. So it is mainly a wildlife thing, just because what these flies do, and they look very similar to the blowfly, which is indigenous and has been around here forever. You may not have noticed it. It's a little green fly. It looks like a swollen house fly with a green sheen to it. It looks very, very similar to a screwworm fly. So if you see one, while it's good to take notice that you may not have seen it before, they are almost identical in how they appear. And what we're really looking for is the maggots, and not to be too graphic, but the maggots that are eating live flesh. So the difference between like glowworms and a lot of other maggots that eat dead flesh, and these screwworms actually go in and infest live tissue. And what they need is a laceration, and it can be something as small as a tick bite. They basically need moisture and a little way in, and then the female goes and lays her little packet of eggs, and then those erupt and bore into the skin, and it's quite a devastating disease. I'm sure some people have seen pictures of the key deer, and it eats away very, very quickly. 2 to 3 days in a week to 2 weeks can cause death, but it's very important to note that if you catch it early, it is 100% treatable. In your pets, don't be afraid to report it, because if you get to it early, and even if you get to it later, it's still 100% treatable. It's just, it takes more, because instead of having a little wound, call it the size of a penny, if you wait a week, you've got something the size of a softball, and the softball takes longer to heal on your pet than it does a penny-sized wound. So be vigilant. Look at your pets. Look at your stray cats. Look at the anything that's out there that you can get your hands on, and look for lacerations and swellings, and treat them if need be. There's your veterinarians know lots of treatment protocols. We've been very vigilant in getting out information, because we haven't had to treat this for such a long time that the veterinarians are on top of it.
We've had a number of key deer that have had to be euthanized about this. This is particularly troublesome for the key deer population. They're in the rut right now. The males are fighting. They wind up with sores and wounds around their heads. This is where the flies are entering and laying their eggs. Then the deer are all over the island. This is a real problem, isn't it? Not only for eradication, but for the key deer population, isn't it?
It is a problem, and that's why we're for the eradication process. We're going through and we're releasing sterile flies, which are basically as they're pupating up, and so we're in Panama they're being harvested. And this has been going on, and Panama's had this set up. So we are flying in sterile flies twice a week, on Monday and Thursday, and releasing them on Tuesday and Friday. Just a little bit under 1 million flies per release. So getting up on 2 million per week being released in these 2 keys. And the process is, while they're germinating, is they basically get the same as you and I whenever we go to either get an x-ray from your doctor. We get that, but the flies get that, but instead of having on the lead apron, they don't get the lead apron. They emerge sterile. And since the female only breeds once in her life but can lay 10 packets of eggs, we overwhelm them with sterile males so they can select it. And it's very efficient for only selecting males. And those males outcompete for the wild-type females, or the native females that are fertile. they breed to an infertile male, and you end that life cycle. So we don't have to catch every single deer or every single positive, but it is helpful, the ones that we do see, to report. And then getting back to your other question, it is a serious thing for the key deer population. They are known to be from Big Pine down to Sugarloaf. So the key deer that are in Sugarloaf, we have not seen any infections in those. So the species at this point will definitely continue. But we are working fast and hard to eradicate this disease. It'll take about 2 life cycles. The life cycle is 21 to 24 days. It'll take about 2 life cycles before you see a very significant drop off in what we're seeing in the clinically positive deer. But that is the process.
Okay, and we encourage people to come on out tomorrow morning at the Big Pine Community Park. You will be part of a panel discussion headed up